This is a rotative TC, external TC shell. Sometimes people call them peanut externals. And it's going to be very nice and very easy. And if you don't know what a rotative external TC shell is, as you can see, instead of building our TC off of the center point, so instead of the external TC being off each one of these gatehouses where they only cover the core, we actually build out, you can see on the gap, we build to one direction on each one. And then we put the external TC right next to the break in the wide gaps. That way, in order to replace this external TC, it's got ingrain anti-siege, so you do have to break another external TC, and then all three of them cover the core. I'll go ahead and turn on the TC range. Now that you can see the TC ranges on each one of them, you can see where it's kind of called the peanut external. If you look at that blue outline, it's kind of shaped like a peanut. And the green TC is our core TC, providing that perfect circle around the core. And then each external TC blocks another one. So this is the blue external, and you can see the privilege is pushed all the way over to the orange external right here. And then it prevents all the way out to here, that blue external TC, so you can't replace or build once you take this one over until you break the blue one. And then likewise for this orange one right here, it's kind of hard to see the difference between orange and yellow right there. The yellow one prevents taking over. Okay, it looks like that one's yellow for some reason, and this red one is orange, but that's the yellow one over there, and that prevents taking over the orange one right here. And then the orange one prevents taking over the blue one right here. So it's a nice, easy way to ingrain anti-siege, and you get some pretty crazy, awesome shells in it. This is just a honeycomb egg base with a rotative external TC shell. And one thing is, this is a wide gap version. You could do wall stack or anything you want. But you don't get wide gaps 360 just because of the way it is. But we do just get wide gaps on one side. So if we had this up to our shooting floor, we would get normal wide gaps right here. So as you can see, we would have normal wide gaps on our shooting floor right here, but on this side, there's no real like rhyme or reason to the actual shooting floor. So this side right here, we wouldn't really do a shooting floor part. You could do peek downs back into the base with a bedroom and a nice gap that's like laterable or whatever. But it's just a nice way to ingrain anti-siege and have some cool, nice looking new shells. And it really makes you look like you know what you're doing in some new tech. And we're going to go ahead and show it to you on a bunch of other different footprints, pretty much every single footprint. And here we have a nice 2x2 with triangle honeycomb shell. And as you can see with the TC range plugin, the anti-siege that's ingrained right here. So on the blue external TC, the yellow one is the core. It's a perfect circle. And we just have two external TCs for the shell. And that green one over there prevents taking over this blue one, and the blue one over here prevents taking over the green one. And it's just a normal shell. Again, you do have a little bit of weird, the wide gaps only work on the two sides. On this side right here, we would have normal sort of peaks. Okay, my mouse is going crazy. We have normal sort of peaks right here, and then you can obviously do a square for just a single square right here. And if we were to push that up off of the one frame, we could have one of these nice little bedroom style things right here with one wide gap down. Everything else over here is going to be a bit offset, so you're not going to be able to actually do, mainly for a China wall. And then these peaks right here be a little weird. You can actually still use them, but again, it's going to be a little goofy, but it's very nice. Very nice, kind of goofy. As you can see, we can go ahead and do these style peaks over here, but it's mainly for that anti-siege property for the China wall shell, and it's incredibly nice and incredibly easy. We're going to go right into a 2x1, and the 2x1 is a bit more difficult because it's not equal on all the sides. It's got the three triangles on one side and then just the one triangle, but there is a way to do it, and it's incredibly nice and incredibly easy. As you can see here, we just have a gap right here in line with our externals. Then we can have some lockers or whatever right here. You could even do a Patrico peak, but we do have that overlapping coverage of the externals, and it's a bit farther on the 2x1 shell here, so you can't place the external can't take over until all the way out here. And it's incredibly nice and incredibly easy, but it does just give you the 2 wide gap sides right here. This is very similar to what the Spinky does on that new Spinky base that I've gotten like 20 requests to try and make a cheaper version of. But it's incredibly nice and incredibly easy to do this in the 2x1. We'll go ahead and show you the footprint pattern on how to do this real quick. Okay, it's super easy to build. First things first, we're going to show you the egg base. So whether you want to do an egg like this, where we have 2 walls and we're just using the 3 squares in here, or whether you want to do a full egg base and have honeycomb on each triangle, and you want to use the full egg core like this, and it's 2 walls, because we're not expanding past the square, even on this one, when we use the 3 squares, it's still only going to be 2 walls to core, plus the China wall and everything like that. But it's really easy to do on this. We're just going to build off of, for either one you want to do, we're just going to build off of the square side, where we need to fit 2 big squares like this. So this is the spot that we're going to do our wide gap rotative external TC. And then I just went ahead and turned symmetry on to make everything easier. So you're going to fill out this spot right here with twig. And then you're going to put a square right here and a triangle to sort of center your build out. And then from this square right here, it's going to be a total of 3 squares capped with a triangle. We're going to build out like that. And then we're going to demolish all of this twig out here. We're going to come back with a single hexagon, square, triangle, square, square, triangle, triangle. And we can demolish all this right here. And if you were doing a base, you want to do your external off of the other side. So we're going to choose one side to build. And we're going to just spam triangles. And as you can see, if you didn't have these honeycombs, you just spam straight triangles like that to create your shell. And when you do have these honeycombs, you just build out and around like this to place those triangles and leave those 2 spots empty, and then you could go ahead and demolish that. That's pretty much it to do this sort of external TC shell. And what you want to do is, like right here, we would have a gatehouse. Then we want to make sure we're building our external TC right next to the gap where it stops. So we can go ahead and build one right here with 4 squares and demolish that. Then we can go ahead and upgrade everything. And then right here where we would have our external TC disconnect with our 4 square frames out, and go ahead and just place these externals down. We'll go ahead and put our main TC in the core right here. Then when we go ahead and connect these and make sure all of these are connected with the walls, because the privilege is not being carried over right now because they're unconnected. And then you can make this into a bedroom or something else that you want. Or you can make it like a peak. And then once you have all that connected, you can go ahead and see the actual TC coverage on all of them. And it's going to take a little bit to load correctly right here, but you see each one is covering each other TC for the anti-siege. So we have blue TC over there covering this orange one, and it looks like the priv is not being pushed correctly with this plugin. You just have to place a little bit more blocks because plugin is not calculating it correctly as far as the yellow and the orange being pushed over here to this blue, but the blue is for some reason, even though we're on 3-way symmetry. But it is in grain anti-siege. The plugin is just, it takes forever to load, and sometimes it doesn't load correctly. But they all should be like this blue one right here with the nice large peanut shape blocking the other external TC, because we're doing rotational shell. So this privilege is being pushed all the way over here to this last block right here. And then it's covering this external TC. And that's just how you do the egg base one. We'll go ahead and do some other footprints. For the 2x2, we're just going to start with this footprint. Doesn't matter if you already have the base built up. just this footprint right here, 2x2 with triangle honeycomb. And you're just going to go out two-sided symmetry. You're going to go out 4 squares from one side, just like this. And then we're going to break all those squares, come back with a hexagon and a square. And you can put this triangle here for stability, but it's not needed. And then we're just going to do 1 square off one side, 2 triangles, triangle and square off the other side like that. And again, in a rotational pattern. And then we're just going to end it right here with this square. But on this side, we're going to go ahead and do full like 4x4 style shell. And you can go ahead and place a triangle right there. And this is going to be your full rotational shell for this 2x2 with a triangle honeycomb, just like this. And we can go ahead and upgrade everything here. And remember, we want to build our external TC as close to the gap as we possibly can. So we can build it out this way, or I'm just going to do 4 squares right here. And then we can place our external right here, but I forgot to put one in the core. Easy freehand. And then we're just going to go ahead and place one over here. And this is going to give us our rotational shell. And you can do whatever you want here. You could do the tricos. We're going to go ahead and do like a brutalist peak. Then you can still add the triangle parts after, like this. To bring that down for the window. And we're just going to go ahead and do that on all the other sides right here. Again, it's more of like a kind of wall shell. And you can choose obviously which spot you want an opening on. We could just do openings right here for doorways and then do another one right here. So we have 4 sides, and we'll just go ahead and do another brutalist peak area right here. We can cover this up or do whatever we want really. And then we're just going to have our rotational disconnectable shell China wall right here. Once I go ahead and turn the TC plugin on, and now that that plugin's on, you can go ahead and see the actual peanut shape and how it does automatic anti-siege on the 2x2. And it's incredibly nice and incredibly easy. I don't have an actual full base on it yet, but once you go ahead and do it, not on the 2x2 version, but if you go ahead and replace 2 of the brutalist peaks with just like a bedroom, so you could have more stability right here, you can go ahead and do like a pod or something right there if you want to do more half walls on each of these. But if we just expand our 2x2, or we apply this to an expanded 2x2, doesn't matter how you have it here. Just go ahead and put every single wall in here just for like a placeholder shell. We can go ahead and put this right here. Have nice little wide gaps right there, and we can make like a mini 2x2 right here with little wide gaps. Peek down right here. Again, you could do whatever you want with it. It's just a very nice rotational 2x2 shell. Okay, it's super easy to build. You're just going to start with your 2x1 like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn the symmetry on so we don't have to repeat this. Okay, I have 2-sided symmetry on right now, and we're going to build off the center triple triangle spot right here. We're going to come out 2 squares, triangle, break these, come back with triangles like this, like we were going to do this for a wide gap. But we're going to go ahead and break these and come back with a square on this side. We still have that triangle, single triangle, wide gap right there. And on this side, we're going to do a second triangle, square, triangle, and then we're going to do bam triangles like this. So we have these right here for a nice even match. And then we're going to go ahead and do a triangle like that. And this is going to create our shell. And this is the point right here where we're going to build out for our external TC. And then the priv blockage is going to be all the way right here for the second TC. So we'll go ahead and do that, 4 squares, so we have normal disconnectables like this. And we can go ahead and upgrade the entire shell and the external TC part. And I didn't place a TC in here, but we'll go ahead and freehand one. Like an absolute savage. Flips in the wall. The actual tightest TC placement. And then we're just going to go ahead and place our externals out here. You can see it's right beyond, exactly beyond the core TC range. And then these are going to be square frames, but we'll just go ahead and connect those right now to sort of show you the free push of the rotating externals. And this would obviously be our Brutalist peak area that we could do the new $1 million peaks on. Like this. And then now the external TC privilege push is going to go beyond our other external TC to create the nice peanut shape around all three. And it's incredibly nice and incredibly easy. It's just a nice way to do a nice unique shell that also has benefits over a normal shell. Okay, for a hexagon, we could do like a tiny solo 5k stone upkeep base, but actually have some peaks. We're gonna go off 2 different symmetrical sides like that. And we're just gonna go off 2 squares and a triangle. We're gonna come back with 5 triangles like this, 4 triangles. We have this wide gap area right here. We're gonna demolish these 2, come back with a square like this. Triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle, square. And that's gonna create our rotational gap right here. And then the privilege is gonna be slightly too close to where you could pretty much like just shimmy an external TC over there. We're gonna come out with a full hexagon this way. And funnily enough, this also gives you a wide gap right here. You can't fall, you can't fall through it, I guess. Maybe if it's just twig. I couldn't fall through it on metal, but it does give you a nice gap. And then you can do an external TC right here. Now you have a complete rotational footprint. So we can go ahead and upgrade everything here except for the twig for the frames. And if we had our external TC in here, we'll be able to place 2 more over here once these are disconnected. Then when these are connected via frames, this provides our anti-siege right here. So we can go ahead and turn on that TC plugin. And now you can see the peanut style shape for the anti-siege. And as you can see, the green is like right on the edge of the core TC, and the blue is not being pushed over because we don't have this connected with walls. Once this is connected right here, supposed to be a window and a wall right here, and then we could have like a entrance to the shell like that. And then you could do a full wrap around or something right here. Whatever you want to do, it's just a nice way to add some crazy shells. And then now you can see the actual distance covering for anti-siege here. And again, this is for like a very small, I do have a hexagon base. This, and it's just nice. I think it's like 6k stone in total, and then like 4k on the core, and then like 1500 on each, like 7k total. But it's very nice and very easy.